four-wheeler stolen and wrecked west of Calgary.
I am so happy to finally be telling this story because it has been literally 5 years in the making. It was the entire reason that I started this YouTube channel in the first place. This roller coaster of a SEMA build started all the way back in 2019, where at the same time as we were busting our ass building Chainsmoker version 1, there was another local Alberta team building this 2018 Ram 3500 Laramie Mega Cab. Led by an ambitious owner, it was built to be his dream golden mall crawler style truck. He had a lot of extensive and expensive plans, but with the SEMA crunch looming down, they had to take a lot of steps back, and the body shop was left having to pull a miracle to even get it up to minimal show standards to go down at all. At no fault to them, the timeline was set way too tight, and that left the last 10% pretty much swept under the rug, which meant that only one side of the truck actually had suicide doors. The other side still opened normally. And the front suspension arms, they're supposed to be like a nice big arch. One of them had to get flipped upside down in order for it to fit, amongst a bunch of other stuff that I'll get to shortly. Most importantly though, they made it down to the show. They got to drive through the rollout. There was some criticism though. The owner actually, you gotta feel bad for the guy because he put it all on the line and it wasn't his fault that all that happened. I mean, it's his fault that he didn't budget enough time. That's just the way that it goes. But hold on. Reserve your judgment until you hear what happens next.
Foreshadowing is a narrative device.
After the truck got back to Calgary from SEMA, it went back to the body shop to finish off that last 10%. It ended up sitting for a little while the owner was getting his funding together, which to be fair, that happens. After Chainsmoker got back from SEMA, it ended up sitting back behind Cutter Up shop for a while I was collecting funds in order to rebuild the engine. Thank you, Cutter Up, for that. Then one early morning, the gated compound where the gold truck was being held was broken into, and you can see a Dodge truck with a flat deck trailer backed into the compound. A few moments later, you can see that same Dodge truck cruise out of the compound with the gold truck strapped onto the back.
That nasty person took my gold machine.
The next morning, the staff showed up, saw the fence broken, and then looked into the yard, and the gold truck, which is pretty hard to miss, was missing. The police came by, and they said, you know what? This is a pretty distinguishable truck. I bet if we asked the public, they would tell us if anybody's seen it, because how could you forget? So they called up the local media, and the media absolutely ate this story up. By the end of the day, it was all over every single news outlet, print, online, and television. Not only just in Calgary, the whole country was keeping their eyes peeled.
So police still trying to track down this Dodge Ram and the suspects inside. Lauren?
This was the first time that I heard of the truck because it was plastered all over my social media. Hopefully this is the point where you're going, oh yeah, I remember this truck.
Oh, I remember.
You mean me?
I remember.
The footage of the theft hadn't been released yet, so it was mainly just eyes on the road. But other than make the truck kind of famous, the news articles did little to help find it because it was some random passerby that happened to see it in the ditch at a local off-roading spot called McLean Creek, 50 or so kilometers away from Calgary.
We had information through the investigation that led us to believe that items related to the investigation were dumped on a rural property, and that's all we can get into.
This was music to the media outlets' ears, who ran another round of articles with it.
Our CMP are asking for the public's help.
Along with one other key piece of evidence, the actual CCTV footage of the truck being stolen. This was particularly important information for a group of online detectives on the Facebook group Alberta Coal Rollers, who instantly recognized that Dodge truck that had been used in the theft. After following the build relatively closely, some of these members of that Facebook group had already been a little bit fishy about some of the details, and there were already some ideas being tossed around, but this one was the nail in the coffin, that it was an inside job. Oh no! That Dodge Ram and that trailer were the same Dodge Ram and trailer that were used to drop that truck off at the body shop before it was painted from the red that it was to the gold that it is now.
Wait, what?
Which could only mean one thing. It was the actual owner who had been stealing his own truck. Makes sense when you find out that he had made a massive insurance claim on the theft of that truck. So it was in his best interest to see it go bye-bye. As far as I know, it's due to the lawsuit. All of those original threads are gone, but I was still able to find a lot of screenshots from people talking about it afterward, and it seemed like this was some crazy drama. The news outlets went from having a field day with this thing to a stadium day. This couldn't get any better for them. What a twist.
And what makes you, oh boy, wow.
Now, before he dumped it, he stole pretty much whatever of value that he could. Practically the whole front end, the brake system, the steering system, all the air valves and pumps, and fuel tank even, but nothing that isn't easily replaceable.
Too easy.
The box had been unbolted and had tumbled down the hill, wrapping it around a tree at the base, but the truck had just kind of rolled down the ditch. So the box had been massively dented and then placed back on the truck for the auction, which made it look like the whole truck had been wrapped around a tree, when in reality, the only thing that had to be replaced there was the box. The frame rails and everything else were straight as an arrow. The truck was actually pretty nice. It wasn't that far off from being where it was before, or even better.
That shouldn't be too hard.
The ownership of the truck was transferred over to the insurance company's name, and after sitting for a full year, finally went to the auction. Now, unfortunately, the auction house that it went to has a no viewing policy, which means you can't actually go in and look at them before you're buying. So you're basing your purchase solely off of the photos that are provided. Now, based on the fact that a 3-year-old Ram 3500 diesel Laramie mega cab with 49,000 kilometers on it is about an $80,000 Canadian truck without any modifications, and that there's another $40,000 of good modifications on there, from the interior to the suspension, all the work that was done on the underbody, minus the $50,000 that it would cost to rebuild this thing so that it was roadworthy again. And then definitely minus the extreme plans that I have for this thing, which is taking it way over the top for SEMA 2024. Based on all that, I set myself a budget of $35,000.
$35,000.
That leads us to auction day. Oh baby, I've been waiting a whole year for this. I still got 2 guys that I'm bidding against, Ontario and Alberta. Get out of here, Ontario. Sell it, sell it, sell it. We're getting up there now. Oh, you're a roach. I know, Rusty, I feel the same, buddy. I know, you're such a roach. Get out of here. Stop pressing that damn button. Come on, baby, let it run down. Oh, you're such a roach. That's a lot. That's a lot of money. Oh, get out of here. There's no way he's pressing it again. Oh, Jesus. I know, Rusty. I fucking hate this guy. Whew. Big money. That was crazy. Whew. Guess who owns a SEMA truck? 2 SEMA trucks. Although having 2 SEMA trucks is cool, that wasn't the reason I bought this. After everything it's been through, somebody really needed to do this truck justice. The potential is certainly there. Just needs a little bit more time and some fresh ideas, and this truck can definitely go back to SEMA and get the positive spotlight that it deserves.
Bottom to the top.
Before I had even picked it up, there was posts on coal rollers with everybody's opinion on the price I paid. And then came pickup day. Since the front end loader can't have too much weight at the end of its forks, it has to load all big trucks backwards, which wouldn't have been noteworthy except because of this truck's local fame. My drive home from the auction started the trend of me not being able to trailer it anywhere without it being spotted. And then all of the corresponding chirps from nobody understanding why I was hauling it backwards.
We're gonna have to go up a little more.
Okay.
Tilt back a little bit.
Yeah. Whoa.
Woo! Don't do nothing.
Yeah. Front suspension back connected, and this truck is the first step closer to not being a massive pile of shit. Pulled the box off, and just as I had hoped, the frame underneath is absolutely mint. I called a scrap metal guy to come pick up the box. It couldn't even make it to the crusher before it was spotted by somebody else. Yeah, that did her. With the spotlight back on the gold truck, I decided to get in on the action and posted a single picture of it being towed by my other truck without any caption. The responses were extremely entertaining. From mass hate to excitement, it seems that everyone has an opinion on this truck. These are a good read if you pause the screen. There was even one girl that made a small pee-pee joke. And the replies were absolutely roasting her. Enough talk though, now that I've finally got the truck in my possession. Let me show you a little bit around this thing. The bodywork is just crazy. This interior, oh my goodness. It's really sick. That is incredible. And then just wait until you see this. Yep. Suicide nose, baby. It's missing a bunch of parts. There's definitely some work that has to be done here. There's no doubt about it.
I'm scared. I'm not scared. You're scared.
I'm gonna start with Bruce here so that you have like a little bit of a frame of reference. Bruce is a 15 F350 sitting on 24-inch wheels, and there is a 9-inch lift on here. These airbags, right now it's sitting where it would have like a 6-inch lift. It goes up, and I don't know exactly what that number is, but I'm gonna say it goes up somewhere around about 15 inches. If you add that 6 plus the 15, 21 inches. It doesn't look like too much right now, but in order to fill in those wheels, because this truck is so tall, the wheels that were on it were 30s. 30s! I didn't even know they made 30s. Like I did, because I've seen them, but I just didn't. Like it's just mind-blowing. So it had 30s on it, and I found them. Well, I didn't find them. Kale found them, so props to Kale. But they have been found. Because of that, I am now saving my pennies to buy these absolutely stupid, ridiculous wheels.
What a waste of money.
Gotta waste money to make money.
There's quite a few things to piece together, but it's really not such a big deal considering all the work that's gone into this truck. There's been a lot of work. It is currently missing its front end, as you can tell. So I'm trying to search out a 2019 and newer Ram that's either been burnt or rolled that I can peel the front end off of and put onto this to upgrade it. Not gonna be any engine starting video on this one for a while, but it does have its turbo down there. So it's not gonna be that expensive to get this thing going again. I just need all of the cooling off of that new front end, along with the whole front end. It actually replaces these arms as well, and then obviously fenders. Slap you. I actually like the interior, believe it or not. It's gonna fit the new theme of the truck really, really well. I'm not gonna tell you what that is, but it's pretty wild. Continuing on to some more things we have to look forward to. Like so many of these trucks, there is no front drive shaft, and that is because the pinion angle is still stock, meaning that this is still pointed that direction, and the drive shaft is gonna have to go that direction. And when there's too much angle between the drive shaft and the differential, that U-joint catches and it doesn't actually spin properly. And that's what's happened here. So now we've got a bunch more work in order to fix this angle and make it like that. Then coming up to the door here, you'll notice that there's no window regulators, and the glass that was in here was actually held up with 2x4s. And then behind that, you'll see that there is a little plate here that was put on for the shaved door handle kit, because there are no more door handles outside. However, they didn't get the little button door popper kit. So the way that you open and close these doors is you pull this little wire here, and it goes down through there and attaches to that. So when you're pulling the wire, it's actually pulling the handle up. Ridiculous.
Remember, women don't find you handsome. They should at least find you handy.
I have just driven all the way up to Gert's Wheels in Ponoka, Alberta, where I have got 4 very large and shiny presents right here. Going to be reunited with this truck for the first time in a very long time.
How much was it?
They gave it to me.
And look how big these things are.
No, they didn't.
Lay inside here.
So you're not gonna tell me how much was it?
This is the largest wheel, I think, in production. I'm not really completely certain.
How are they gonna give you something like that? Just tell me how much was it?
But, damn, and look at the brand new.
Like 30 bucks.
It still has the sticker on it.
You did not pay $30 for that.
Yeah, it's like 30 bucks.
Okay.
Ends up that the wheels had gone back to the original distributor after SEMA in order to cover the original builder's unpaid bill. And then they kept them until selling them back to me at the original sponsored cost. Ooh, so mint. Thank you, Gert's Wheels.
I've never seen
seen anything so reasonable.
I brought them home, and they're going the only place that makes sense. Obviously, my bedroom.
Yeah, buddy.
I kept 3 wheels in my bedroom and 1 at my shop, separating them like Dragon Balls, since I figured they were less appealing for thieves as an incomplete set.
The 21st episode of the Frieza saga of Dragon Ball Z.
2 months in, and I pulled them back out to put them back to use. On my mudding truck, of course. At this point, I moved the gold truck down to storage, and sure enough, it was spotted again. The hood didn't have a latch, and all I had was a dog leash, so it was just kind of being held up by the wind. Sure enough, that only lasted so long before the hood shot back and had a nice little makeout sesh with the windshield. This leads us to the end of episode 1, but certainly not the end of this story, which is working in a totally different but extremely unique, to say the least, build direction. All while still being on track for SEMA 2024 in only 6 months. Subscribe to follow this build, and in the meantime, check out one of these 2 other videos. You will love them.